That should be the last episode where we are silent. We have we have a workaround for some music next week, so hopefully we can get that in the works. I don't want to overpromise, but that will be what we got for now. And then while I transition here, we will go to this screen. Actually, we'll go to this screen. Donnie's going to play a little game. We're going to bring back our prediction show. Last year, Evan was not a part of it, so I'm happy to have Evan back. We might actually attach something to this eventually too, as well. So that'll be something we can definitely do.
Yeah,
We have this one up. Now we should be good.
Yeah. So we've all made our predictions in the background without I've seen everyone's that they posted, so we've all seen each other's, but this will be a quick discussion of why we think what we think.
I have not looked at anyone. I have not taken a peek.
I haven't either. I've tried to keep it as a surprise.
I haven't even looked at my overall.
So it's just me. Fuck off. Bye.
Yeah.
Okay. So last year, I explained this. I'll probably explain it every year. I do this about this time of year every single year for about the last 5 years. I think it's a good exercise just to, familiarize yourself with the teams, what went on in the off season. And it's just, it's fun to look at where you're wrong, in my opinion.
To be fair, I like it mostly because it really lets me look at the schedule very quickly. And going through it, I didn't realize some of the marquee games that will happen this season. I didn't realize what they had planned on certain occasions.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons to like this exercise, I feel.
Honestly, I like that we almost messed it up last year. There was a lot of training wheels that we had to experiment with. We were using a bad website. We didn't have Evan. Now it feels like we've kind of ran the training wheel kind of module, so now we can have a more fluid way to do it. You brought this wheel, Donnie. I think, like I told you, we're raising the stakes. We're being a bit more professional. I'm pretty proud of that.
All right. Without further ado, let's get into this.
What division will we talk about first?
A fun one. NFC South.
You would give me my division first. Oh, you son of a bitch wheel.
All right.
Random number generator, my ass.
Why don't you? Can you pull up Gov's first? Let's get Gov.
Yeah, let's pull up mine first. Because I have a very even, I will say, first place, last place in my NFC South, 3-game difference. 7 wins to 10 wins. That is the difference in my division. Everyone in the NFC South is middle of the pack here.
I can pull up everyone's schedule but yours, Gov. I don't know why.
All right, pull up Evans first.
Hold on. I can pull up mine.
Yeah, you
Give me 1 sec.
By the way, while we buffer, I don't even know my division records. I picked the games game by game and purposely did not look at the rankings or the standings after that.
See, I do it completely different, actually. I will go through game by game, schedule by schedule, and then I'll decide, this team definitely is better than this, or this team's not as good. And
I purposely tried not to do that because I didn't want to have a bias of first, second, and third. I'm just I want to look at each, because I really do think the NFL is week by week, matchup by matchup.
Now, explain to me how this comes about, Gov.
Okay, and like I was telling you guys before the show, I went back and looked at my strength of victory, so the winning percentage of the teams that they beat. And in my scenario here, Carolina has 10 wins, and their strength of victory is only a 0.35. So, they're beating all the teams that are also 7-win teams or less in the league. And I didn't really I knew my schedule was soft, but I get the NFC South, I get the Giants, I get the Commanders, I get the Broncos, I get the Raiders. My tough teams, barring the actual yes, I play Cincinnati. That sucks. Yes, I play the Chiefs and the Chargers. Yes, I play Philly and Dallas. those games I have us losing those games. But like, if I can beat Chicago and I can beat who it's like Jacksonville or something. If I can beat those teams, I can get to 10 and still go 3-3 in the division. Like again, I don't even have me sweeping the division. Like I look back and was like, I was not easy on Carolina. They lose all the hard games. They lose home games. They're only 3-3 in the division. I still have them at 10-7.
So the Carolina Panthers, as you already know, finished with a 2-win season. Do you really believe the Carolina Panthers have added enough talent to get to 10 wins?
I don't think we were a 2-win team last year, but the team being like everything in flux and then the Tepper stuff at the end, there was nowhere to go for us to like rally and win like 4 games or 5 by the end of the year. But I think that's where we should have been. And if we were a 5-win team and then you in this same division, like you also have to remember the division. This was a division last year and really the last 2 years. You could have won it with a losing record.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that.
Not like the bar was high. And with the new 17-game schedule, this is basically winning the division at 9-6 or 9-7. Like this is a 9-17 that wins the division, like it was 5 years ago. Remember when the Giants did that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
They won or got into the wild card at 9-7 when you usually had to win 10 games. Well, this is the de facto win 10 games. But my schedule, like I said, like this has me losing a game to the Falcons, losing a game to Tampa, losing a game to New Orleans, losing the big games to Philly and Dallas and Kansas City. Like I think I have one big win, and that's like I know that historically the Carolina Panthers are currently 5-0 against the Los Angeles Chargers all time. I went to 3 of those games while I lived in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have Carolina winning their home game against the Chargers. But that's like the one like 10-plus win team they beat this year.
And
otherwise, they beat my division
being...
and a bunch of other teams I have with 5, and a bunch of other teams like Indy and Tennessee here that I have winning like 4 teams.
That's fair. Do you want to pull up a different schedule, Logan?
Yeah, pull up someone else.
Okay, let's go to Evan.
Okay, so
what's your NFC South look like?
So my NFC South is a lot similar to last year, but I have the Falcons catching up to the Buccaneers, as I still believe the Buccaneers are a worthwhile team that should win the division, but it remains to be seen.
It could come down to tiebreakers, yeah.
I think it's going to be really close now that Arthur Smith is gone, that the Falcons will catch up to the Buccaneers, but I just don't believe the Falcons have the talent to come out on top. I think it's still the Buccaneers' division to lose. I do not like this Saints team this year. Their defense is probably the most respectable unit, even if it's not the best. And I don't believe in this offense outside of like Carr and Olave and Kamara. I don't think that's going to be enough to make damage. And I don't believe the Carolina Panthers have had enough talent to go better than 4-13.
I see. Funny enough, Evan, my records for the NFC South are all within 1 game of yours. So it seems like we're on the same page. Yeah, I'm on the same page as you. I might have a different order, a different wind swing here and there, but we're at the same wavelength here.
Like, to be honest, like I don't disagree with this at all. If you think Carolina's just going to be bad again, whereas I think they can beat. Like, I would look at your like division record stats on this, and you probably have Carolina going like 1-5 in the division or something.
Something like that. Like I could see them upsetting a team like the Saints, who I don't believe are that great, but they're definitely not a 2-win team like you just said. I think they get to 4. They're not going to be the worst team this year.
No,
I agree. Like that, but I'm a Panthers fan, so I've definitely got them overestimated, but I still didn't give them any like. I didn't like blow them away. They lost all the games they're supposed to lose, and that still could get them to 7 losses. But I think, like you have it at 9-8 both. Like I could see one of those teams like winning a different game and it being 10-7. And like I think so far we have a consensus of this division's pretty mid, and someone's going to win it, but we're not really sure who.
They're very close, right?
Like 2 or 3 of them are going to be close to each other.
Yeah.
and then maybe one horrible one.
I tinkered with the Falcons possibly going 10-7, but the defense and that awful secondary that the Falcons have do not make me believe that they'll be better than 9-8 at best.
I think this division as a whole, though, is like Amazon Prime's like best friend. Like this just seems like a good divisional games to put against each other on a Thursday night. You know the games will be close. They might be sloppy, but people are willing to watch. Like the Thursday night game can be sloppy as long as it's close, and they usually like division games. Anyways, like we were saying, I don't think there's a team that's going to pull away in this division, and I just think there's a lot of newness to it in this division. The Saints have a new offensive coordinator. There's a lot of new offensive weapons in Carolina. Tampa's probably the same old team in the way, but like Atlanta.
Yeah,
Tampa
is probably the most consistent team. You're right, but they're also the one coming off the championship pedigree. Where, like I was saying last year, this team with Brady would be considered a championship team, like because they believe Brady could do it. So you just put Baker there, and we realize, oh, it's actually much better than people think.
Logan, you're missing a game here with the Saints, but they're.
I might have missed a game with the Saints. I'll try to find out when that is.
And the Buccaneers.
Well, it's between Saints and Bucks, so give us your prediction on that one, I guess, and then that decides who wins the division.
I would take the Saints. I was trying to find it because I thought I was down by one game. Like I said, I didn't even look at the overall record. I tried to keep that a surprise for myself.
Yeah. So you have the Saints winning this division at 10-7.
Yes.
A very big decrease of what you had them last year. I think last year you had them 15-2. So we're evening out a bit.
They had 3 losses last year, but yes.
Okay, sorry, 14-3.
So, Logan, the Saints face the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Chiefs in the first 5 weeks of their season. Do you see them beating any of those 3?
Yes.
Really?
I don't think
Even I don't have the Panthers beating any of those 3, and I play the Chiefs at home coming off my bye.
I told you
winning that game.
I told you that me and you were the highest on Carolina. But the consensus I would say here is that we all think this division is going to be close.
It's going to be competitive for sure.
Yeah,
like if you
we don't really have many. Like we barely want to have the winner with 10 wins.
Yeah.
So we don't have this as a strong division, but it will be close inside of it.
If you want to pull up mine, Logan.
Yeah, I can do that.
Where were you at, Donnie?
Yeah, I don't have the division standings. I didn't save it, but I have the Falcons winning that division at 10-7. Tampa Bay second at 8-9. New Orleans 7-10, and then a sad Panthers team, worst team in the league again, 3-14. So
why are they the worst team for you guys? Because we didn't go high on them.
Like I don't believe that they were a 2-win team last year, and they have at least gotten better in some ways. Now, is it explosively better, where they're great in year 2 or at the end of the year and by year 3? I'm not sure about that, but I do think we're better than last year.
You know what's? I actually agree. I do think you're better. This is just kind of how it fell for me. But the Panthers, man, I don't trust Bryce Young. He has to show me something on the NFL level. I don't trust the coaching staff that much. I don't know anything about the offense in general, really. I don't know if that offense can produce. And you get rid of Brian Burns.
Donnie, if I played devil's advocate though, and I said like we're judging too much off of one season, couldn't I say like, okay, maybe the Panthers aren't as good, or maybe they're not a playoff team, but why are we so quick to say that the Texans are that good, given that CJ only had one season too? Like, sure, he looked really good, but why can't Young have somewhat of a better season?
Well, CJ added a significant talent around him. I'm not basing this off. I always say you need to give me 2 years at quarterback for me to really even judge you. If 2 years of great, if you want me to consider you great. I even said that with Mahomes at the start.
Well, I'm
not giving you that status until you do it twice.
That's fair. I just wanted to know the rationale because, like, they got Tank Dell, and I think Leggett could definitely be that for the Panthers.
Well,
I would expect more from Mingo. Like, that offense they have tried things this offseason. I'm just saying
my thing is, Tank Dell.
Like, we got Deontay, we got Brooks, we have tried to add talent to like an offense that was anemic last year, and
prove to me it's not anemic.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at.
I'll give you that.
And if I'm wrong, that's the fun of this to me. I know there's going to be some egregiously bad things on this list.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's the Panthers this year. It was the Texans. Last year I had the Texans repeating as one of the worst teams in the league, and they made the playoffs and completely shut me up.
It's just polarizing. They have very similar, kind of builds where it's like 1 year we're giving CJ Stroud all this credit, where we're expecting Young to have no development. Maybe that's the case.
I give the Texans the boost because you had Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs. That's where the Texans boost comes in.
I think the Panthers added more, though. I think they added more than the Texans.
Oh, that was actually, I'm glad you said that, Logan. You kind of read my mind because the Panthers added more and didn't lose as much as the New York Giants did this offseason. That includes their offense and defense, where, losing Brian Burns hurts, but the only respectable thing I liked about the Giants defense was Bradbury, and he's fucking gone. The secondary was the best part of that terrible defense. So I can't see a world in which the Panthers are worse than the Giants.
But I will say, while we're still in the South, we had 3 different people with division winners, right? Because I had the Falcons. We had one.
I had the Saints.
I had the Bucks.
I have the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, actually,
we all have a different person winning the division.
Wow.
That is real. This is.
But that just shows we all think this division kind of sucks. We all have a different person winning it. It's all kind of possible.
This division will come down to whoever gets hot and gets that streak. And can stay healthy.
If one of these teams wins 3 or 4 in a row, they will be at the top of that division and just have to hold on to it.
Yeah.
All right, you want to spin the wheel?
Yeah, I'm going right over to that wheel spin again.
Let's go to the wheel, Logan.
Let's show it first before we spin it.
Yeah, I was still pulling it up for Logan.
There we go.
All right. Division number 2.
Oh. Well, we were already talking a little bit about the Giants.
Oh,
never mind. We were talking about Houston too. It's fine.
I'm gonna go in the order of my screen though, so I'll start with me and then Evan.
All right.
Oh wait, hold on. I'll start with Evan because I wasn't ready.
Okay. Okay, so I think everybody knows that the Houston Texans are definitely the team to beat in the AFC South this year. The talent they added last year was incredible, and the defense that they have can at least get it done. I don't see a world in which Jacksonville is better than Houston at this point. I think Jacksonville is still just a very mid team. Having Brian Thomas replacing Calvin Ridley should be good for their offense, and Travis Etienne should be a top performer, but I just don't think the Jaguars have as good of a defense as the Texans. And I think then the Colts are going to be below average this year. I don't think they're going to be a very good team, even if with Anthony Richardson still out there and staying healthy. And the Tennessee Titans, well, they're in for a rough season, even with their offensive talent. Their offensive line sucks. And even with the addition of Jamal Adams in their secondary, I just don't think that Titans are going to do it.
I don't think they have a big drop-off like this.
I mean, will be honest. I made this before the Jamal Adams signing. Sorry, Donnie, go ahead.
Again, outside of Tennessee, me and you are within 1 game of every one of these teams.
That's wild.
So hopefully we stick on this streak of being right later on.
Yeah, I think Tennessee's in for a really rough season, and I'd love for them to prove me wrong because they just lost. Why do I keep forgetting the head coach's name they just let go of?
Mike Vrabel?
Yeah, Mike Vrabel. That's a huge loss. I don't remember who they even hired as their replacement, but I think it's going to be a big learning curve.
Callahan.
I'm with Donnie. I'm only off by 1 game from all of this, except for 1 team. I have 1 team pretty different. But I have Houston at 11-6.
We'll pull up your lineup now, Donnie, so you can talk about it since you guys have so much similarity.
I mean, we already talked about Houston. Like they're just better this year. I don't think they got worse.
10-7 on Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville. They're well coached. I believe anyway.
Yeah, Peterson's good.
I still trust Trevor Lawrence, even though he's been a little rough. His talent continues to get better around him. I'm a little concerned that Ridley's gone, but it is what it is. Gabe Davis should be a fine sub in. I like that team overall. Going down to Tennessee, where I have them at 7-10, though, I just think they're too talented offensively to suck. Levis is not terrible. They have the receivers. They have a tight end. Their running back room I don't love. And their defense is not great, but it's there. It's a defense. It's on the field.
I will say, long term, their wide receiver options aren't great. They're betting. I shouldn't say betting. I mentioned Calvin Ridley because he lost like a year of his career. But I mean, he is older than people think because of that. I mean, there's not wear and tear. That's not, but
29 actually.
A lot of this division though is younger, and they're really building towards the future. I think this is the one team that's pretty much solidified. They're good, but Hopkins isn't getting any younger. To Evan's question though, Callahan is the coach there. He came over from the Bengals, and obviously the offensive line pedigree with his family. You would expect kind of maybe a play action style offense. I want to like their offense, but I don't trust that defense at all. That's why I don't like Tennessee.
I also don't love Indy either. Like Indy's 7-10, yes, but
yeah,
they're still not. There's not enough offensive talent there. I don't think they can win like that. Their best corner is 5'8". That I don't love that.
I don't think that's the biggest of their problems, though.
It's not the biggest of their problems. I don't know if Richardson can stay healthy. That's their big problem. It's just an okay team, and they're young, and hopefully they'll be better in a couple years from now. But they're not gonna come out here in a tough AFC and do much.
Yeah. I would be curious to know though, like when we went through our schedules, like what was the goal? Were we trying to have fun? Are you trying to be as realistic as possible? Like what kind of was your building blocks when you made these predictions?
What I believe is going to happen this NFL season. If everyone was healthy, what do I think will happen this season?
That's what I went through. I'm thinking everyone's healthy. What's this game scenario? And I am taking it into the account of the season. Like when I was doing mine, I was making sure to look at week before, coming off bye. Did they win the week before in a tough game? They might lose the next one. Like I was trying to take all that into account.
So I have a question. Speaking of the Titans, am I the only one here who has no faith in Will Levis?
No. Look at mine.
Yeah, pull Govs up here.
You pull mine.
That's a good transition.
I have very little faith in Will Levis.
Wow.
I also have no faith in Anthony and to be fair, it's not that I have no faith in Anthony Richardson. I just kind of think he is going to be that guy. So if he plays 7-8 games this year, I won't be surprised. And then it's just Jonathan Taylor and backup quarterback, and Indy could just suck again. Jacksonville, I don't know. I think they'll be middle of the pack.
Honestly, 10-7 and 8-9 is not a big difference.
I think their offensive talent has taken a big jump backwards, and I'm not sure. I'm not thrilled with Jacksonville.
I think Gabe Davis.
You losing, Gabe is a one-trick pony who always did the same thing in Buffalo, and he'll be able to do it for Jacksonville. But you have that, and then you have Christian Kirk as your basic de facto number one, and then that rookie has to do well.
And that was going to be another question I was going to have for you, Gov. Brian Thomas is stepping into Calvin Ridley's place, which is opening up approximately 136 targets. Do most, if not all, go to Brian Thomas, or are they going to get spread to Evan Ingram or Christian
I think
Kirk?
Ingram and Kirk are going to absorb a good degree of that. He at rookie year, if he gets 100 of those targets, I think that would be probably, that's probably my thought.
You don't think?
But that means 30 targets are getting split between Kirk and Ingram.
Easy. What about Gabe Davis? Do you just think he won't play?
I think he fills a role that they were trying to use like burners like Zay Jones and other guys last year, and Gabe will just run all of those routes now.
Yeah, it sounds like Gov is basically saying that Gabe Davis will have the MVS role, which I disagree with. I'm more on Donnie's perspective here. I think they're going to use him creatively. Actually, I think they're going to use him more creatively than
I don't think Buffalo used him well at all.
Yeah, I think they're going to use him differently. We're going to find out if he's talented or not, but they're going to try different things. Like I could see more jet sweeps. You could see more screens.
Oh, I do not. I'd be shocked if he gets jet sweeps and screens.
Oh, yeah, he starts getting jet sweeps and screens. Then I think I might be putting him at 7 wins or 6 wins. Yeah.
It's not like they have good depth behind ETN either. I mean, Tank Bigsby is not impressive to me, and Dearness Johnson is not a good long-term backup, so they're going to have to do jet sweeps with somebody.
They might. And that's my thought. I think the offense is going to take a step back, or at least not be better than last year.
Logan, what's your
answer? So if that, they're probably an 8 or a 9 win team.
Now, I didn't look at my division, so I'm just judging it week by week.
And you missed the game for Jacksonville.
Yeah, you did.
Probably did.
All right, so who does Jacksonville beat then?
Well, we don't know who they're missing, so.
Yeah.
You don't know which game's missing.
I'll go back and fix it.
We figure it out as we look at it. Because, we know that Tampa and New Orleans were both missing each other.
Either way, you got to explain the Texans here. What happens here?
CJ Stroud's not as good as his rookie year.
He doesn't have to be. He has less talent or more talent around him.
But you think he's the reason they go 8-9?
Yeah, I think he
has a sophomore slump.
Yeah, he will press. He'll have that. He'll feel the pressure. He'll feel the expectations. He'll think that they have to be the number one guy, and it will have to be.
And then at week 5, Diggs will start doing his diva shit, and
honestly, that's kind of what I think. You got to remember, Tank Dell's coming off an injury. We're not so sure he's going to come back fully. It's a lot easier when you're kind of the unknown and no one expected a lot from you. Donnie talked about it at the beginning of his segment. The Texans came out of nowhere. No one expected much of them. So everything they did was celebrated it in the shock factor. I'm not convinced that offensive line's gotten better. And so, the defense might have gotten better. They might have added some more sexier pieces. I still think he hasn't shown it, but I still think raw talent-wise, Jacksonville has the best quarterback in the division. And
I agree with that. I'm
not so sure I do, but
what do you think? More talent for talent is better than if we're just going on talent, not off what they produced. He's better.
And I would just tell you, wide receiver-wise, they've actually improved. I think Thomas over Ridley is a big improvement. They've added Gabe Davis, who I think is going to add more than Gov does. But I'm betting on those things. You guys are not. I see what we have some similarities. We're all 4 of us are low on Tennessee.
I have them at 7 wins, but still not high on them. Last in the division still.
No, I'm saying of course we have major differences, but we also have things in this division that we can kind of see. I don't see the Colts really being a threat. They're going to win games, but I don't see them being a playoff threat, really.
Oh, 10-7 is a playoff threat.
Yeah, they're going to think they can make it. They're going to be a fringe at that.
I guess that's what I think. They're going to win the game, but they're just not going to be competitive against good teams, I feel like.
Yeah, they'll be Miami last year.
That's basically what I have them at, yeah.
Okay.
All right. I am pulling up the wheel for you, Logan.
Thank you, sir. But I think Gabe Davis is a big addition to the Jags, and apparently that's probably our biggest contention in that division.
Yeah, Gabe Davis is going to make a huge difference for a lot of teams.
NFC West.
Let's go out west.
My least favorite division.
Well, let's start with you, Donnie.
All right.
Pull up Donnie's conference list.
I am pulling it up right now. There we go. You got it up there, Logan?
I do have it up there, don't I?
I didn't see your screen. So I think it's quite obvious. San Fran, still the best team there. Boring. They're going to do the same thing they do every year. Show up, and then playoffs, they'll make a little run and disappoint. Whatever. The Rams, they're with Stafford, Puka, and Kupp, you're going to be good. It's just I also think the rest of the NFC is also good. And losing Aaron Donald's a major loss. That defense is just not the same. And they're going to have to prove to me otherwise. They're not a playoff team right now. Maybe they get a tiebreaker to get in, but I don't see them being great. Arizona, I think, is significantly improved at 8-9. They might even be a playoff-like team. Obviously this stack of 7 through 10 or 6 through 10 is real close. I like Kyler still. He gets a lot of crap. He wasn't healthy at all last year. If he's on the field, he's a good quarterback. I don't know what they're going to do at receiver outside of just trusting a rookie. But I can't imagine they're terrible. In Seattle, I've been low on for years. I don't think they have any talent really outside of DK. And DK's not going to carry your offense. So they're 6-11 down here at 13th.
And that's pretty much the only difference I have with you, Donnie. I don't think the Seahawks are going to fall off that hard. I think they have just enough talent to stay mid, and I think it's going to be a really competitive division.
I think it's competitive in the sense of 2 through 4, and then San Fran's their own team.
Well, yeah, I hope we all agree on that.
Yeah, kind of.
No.
Logan has San Fran losing the division, probably.
Logan, let's go to you. Let's
go
to
we have to go to Logan now.
Okay, first of all, I should tell you that I'm going to disappoint you because I was consistent and I definitely missed some more games here. But I should also tell you, I'm the promoter and the producer of this podcast, and I was multi-tabling a bit trying to make sure the show went off without a hit. So it does seem like I missed a pocket of the afternoon games in one of the weeks. I will find that out.
You missed San Fran somewhere, yeah.
Yeah.
You still have San Fran winning.
Do you have San Fran winning that game and winning the division?
Yeah,
it's not a divisional game either way, so they'll win the division.
Yeah.
Most likely.
But 10-7, like how do the 49ers fall off with mostly the same people?
McCaffrey gets hurt.
Are you predicting injuries here?
I do predict. That's how I make my. I'm not predicting like a Christian McCaffrey level injury, but I do think this team makes a trade. They rely on Ricky more than they should. I've always been lower on Shanahan than most. I think he's overrated. So I think they're a good team, but like I said, Shanahan's not as good as he gets credit for.
I mean, to go 10-7 though, I don't know that.
10-7 is not a bad year.
For the 49ers, it is.
Well, you have distress in the locker room, especially now that you have Ayuk saying he wants out, and then you're saying, screw you, Ayuk, you're staying.
Yeah, but you didn't make yours before you knew the – I mean –
He made these today. He made these today. So
what was weird about the Niners last year is that they were worse at home than they were on the road. I don't know if that means anything or if that's even relevant to this year, but if they can just avoid the mistakes they were making last season that got them those 5 L's, I can't see a world in which they get less than 12
And one of their L's is like a weird chip shot field goal that got completely missed.
Yeah, right.
I love the head coach for Seattle coming over from the Ravens defense. He's going to bring some tenacity. Mike is a great coach. I think DK is going to have a career year. I also think Kyler Murray is actually going to be fully healthy. He was healthy at the end of last year, which proves that he's going to hit the ground running this year. I just think the division as a whole is a lot more is a lot more competitive than I guess you guys do. It's not that the 49ers won't be good. I just think they're going to be in a lot of close games, and they'll lose probably more games than most people do.
I mean, I think every team outside of Arizona got worse. Arizona's the only team that improved this year.
I mean, I can't even tell you the teams I have them losing to because I really did not look at a season kind of outlook. I took it week by week. So I literally just went through who do I think do I think they win this week? Do I think they lose? And that's the record I came up with.
All right, let's switch over to Govs or Evans.
Let me go Evan, because Evan seems so polar opposite of mine with the 49ers take. So I'm curious just to have you lead right in.
Yeah, so I don't, like I said earlier, I don't believe the 49ers will do worse than 12 wins again. I think they, like a classic Shanahan team, they'll make some weird mistakes in the middle of the season and lose 5 games, but I think otherwise they are the team to beat. I don't think they're going to do any worse than that. The Rams and the Seahawks, I think, are both just mediocre teams with coaching that I think is still damn good for the Rams, but the Seahawks remains to be seen now that Pete Carroll stepped down. But I think the Seahawks just have enough talent to get to 9 wins as long as everything goes right, because I like their offense still. Geno gets it done, even if he's on the twilight of his career before Sam Howell or somebody else steps in. And I think the Cardinals are 4 wins better this year. I am not a fan of Kyler Murray. I think his numbers reflect how effective he really is on the field, despite all that talent he brought into the league in 2019. I don't like his touchdown to interception ratio, and I think he has to rely too much on his legs to get it done because the Cardinals' offensive line does not impress me. So with the growing pains of Marvin Harrison coming in, and then hopefully Michael Wilson still does well, I think the bottom 3 teams in this division will be relatively close, and it's the Niners to lose.
Evan, I gotta point it out again. How do we have every team besides one exactly the same?
Great question. We're just on the same wavelength, man.
It does
straight.
It does appear that you and Donnie are basically in lockstep, and usually me and Doug are.
Sorry, home All-Star game's on. Who just hit the homer? Oh shit!
Hopefully you're homering the profit margin tonight too.
It depends on who did. Ohtani hits a 2-run homer. My captain just homered. Fuck everyone, I'm winning. Yes.
Thank you for just making another short for our channel. We'll appreciate that one later.
Please clip that. Please.
I definitely will.
I need that to you. I need you to play that sometimes when we're talking on a line of film.
I already got your Puka one already up. People can check out our shorts. We've been doing some.
You really want to see something like Stark? You should pull up my NFC West.
Yeah, Evan, I'm shocked. I think we might just continue the streak. We got 5 divisions left. Wow.
Yeah, that I was about to say. Well, I wonder what the reaction is, because I'm very low on Arizona. I think they're I don't think they've added enough. I'm not big on Kyler. I just saw the wide receiver salaries for week 1, which we'll talk about on another show. But I can't believe where they have Marvin Harrison Jr. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Can you give us a range, maybe?
He's in the 7K range.
He deserves to be.
It's the couple of 8K guys, and then it's Harrison Jr. and Devontae Adams.
Gov, he deserves to be.
It's him, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams. It's those 3 in that range. I'll give you that range. It's 7K somewhere, and those are the 2 guys around it.
Allegedly.
I don't see it.
Oh, yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly. But I've got angry San Francisco this year. I'm saying everyone's healthy. They're going to be angry that they lost that Super Bowl. They're pissed.
I'll be honest.
They're running through this league. They're not missing those field goals. 14-3. They're going to be so pissed. And they're going to be so pissed all year. And that. I think also we're going to enter the year of offense is very, very good. So I do agree. The Rams defense is probably taking a good step backwards with Aaron Donald being gone.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to say that any other way. But I think Puka, Kupp, Kyren, and everything McVay's going to have, I think they can win 12 games.
I love McVay.
I think they're clearly a wild card team.
Yeah, I love McVay and all. And that offense is awesome. I don't trust Stafford to stay healthy, and the defense is not any better. So
see, and I think I agree the defense isn't any better, but I think Stafford can stay healthy. He has some of the best weapons he's ever had.
Oh, this is by far the best offensive group that Stafford has ever had.
Yes, and just on that, I think offense this year is going to be amazing.
If Stafford's healthy, you could argue he has a shot at the passing yard record.
Does anybody remember how long Garoppolo was suspended?
It doesn't matter to me.
No idea.
No, like 4 games, I think.
Well, the
I'm
reason
basically
the reason I bring that up, Logan, is because if Stafford can't stay healthy, I don't think Stetson Bennett and Dresser Wynn, if he even stays on the roster, is going to be the answer at quarterback. They're going to want Garoppolo out there.
Yeah, no, Garoppolo will be the guy if Stafford does get hurt. That's why you sign him to the team.
Stafford can last however long Garoppolo's suspended. It's not more than
right.
And if he does, not more than 6 weeks anyway, at the most.
Yeah.
I'm in line with you guys on Seattle. I think they'll be like competitive, but they're still just going to be like right there on the edge.
I just want to say quickly, because we mentioned the shorts, and I want to make sure that I get this take out there in case I want to make a short of it later. I did not want Harrison in the first round of the best ball because I just feel like that's a little too high when there's proven options that are as talented as him. But I do think he's the best route running rookie I've seen in the last 10 years, like in the last decade.
And I'm not surprised about that. He's got fucking genetic pedigree.
Yeah.
And a Hall of Fame dad.
To me, he's a younger, more athletic version of Keenan Allen, like just a true technician.
Which is awesome, and he might be great. I think he's better.
And he's priced right next to Keenan Allen, so that makes perfect sense.
My thing is, I think he's better than Hollywood Brown is right now already. So I think the offense is better.
All right, well, let's go to the next division.
Yeah, I think I need to switch the screen back over for you, Logan.
You do.
The next division is ready. When we get to the AFC East, it's going to hurt me, and I'm feeling it soon.
Oh, baby. Here we go.
The North is here.
It's not going to hurt me, Donnie, but it's going to piss off you guys, I think.
I'm playing Pokemon music because it's Logan versus.
So, how do you want to slow roll this? Do you want to just Evan versus me since we are
Well, I want to start with the two of you. I do want to start with the two of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't care who goes first.
Yep.
All right, let's go to Evan. He's got already pulled
I think it's going to be pretty close. I think it's going to be real similar.
Yeah. I know that this is probably going to irritate a lot of casual fans as well, but I think this is still the Lions division to lose. I don't think they're going to do better or worse than last year because I need to see the secondary for the Lions get better. This is a prove-it year for them. So if I'm wrong, so be it. The Chicago Bears proved that they were capable of a 10-7 season last year had it not been for 3 goddamn games where they blew the lead thanks to Matt Eberflus's bad coaching. We blew the lead against, ironically, Logan's Lions, the Broncos, and the Browns. So we were that close to being a 10-7 team with Justin Fields at quarterback, no Keenan Allen, and no Odunze because he was in college, and no Swift. So I think this is going to be a team that finally steps up. I hope Eberflus learns how to coach better in the fourth quarter to keep us at with an 11-6 possibility. I'm not saying Super Bowl for my team, but I think it's at least a playoff team. And
single from Simeon, let's fucking go.
I think the Packers are going to do almost equally as well, if not like right up there with the Bears. I think it's going to be really close between the Bears and Packers as far as record this season. And the Vikings, I like their defensive coordinator. He makes lemonade out of lemons, but I think the offense is going to take a step back with different quarterbacks and different pieces on the defensive line and on the offense. So I don't think the Vikings are going to be a good team this year.
Logan, pull up your records just so we can see the difference.
I will say to Evan's point, he is right. The corners do have to prove themselves. But we cut a starter in Jerry Jacobs last year, so he's no longer on the team. And then we brought in two new rookie starters. So not just one rookie, high profile, and from Alabama, but we brought in another SEC corner as well. So we are revamping that offense. It might not work, but we are basically saying that the guys we had on the team did not work out, and even we've made secondary safety changes as well.
Green Bay Packers at 8-8. Did you mean 8-9 or 9-8?
I would make them 9-8.
So you think they're not going to do better?
No.
Okay.
He's very high on Aaron Jones as well, though. So I don't think there's a significant increase between Jones and Jacobs, honestly.
They're going to try to use him the same, but I mean, I don't know how much Jacobs has left in the tank. The Raiders kind of ran him into the ground 2 years ago.
My
Bobby,
problem
you
is
bring yours up.
Mine is up, but
did you have more to say, Logan?
I was just going to say, I think the Lions were the best team, and I think they did the most to improve with proven veterans. Like the Bears have the most changeover, but they have a lot of rookies.
Now, I do need to point out again, somehow Evan and I are every team within 2 games of each other, halfway through, and we have been on the same wavelength every time. Mm-hmm. Detroit, I think, is pretty much going to do the same thing as they did last year. It's going to look better, but we know what to expect out of them now. Green Bay, I do think improves a little bit, not drastically. They're still just Green Bay. They're going to be well. They're well coached. They're going to make sure they don't make too many mistakes. Chicago 9-8, squeaking in that last playoff spot for me. So we both think Chicago will make the playoffs this year, barring tiebreakers.
Right.
And then the lowly Vikings. I don't see how this Vikings team does anything positive with how terrible I see their defense. I think I don't like McCarthy, but that offense is pretty hard not to succeed in. We saw what that offense was last year. You just can't win without a defense. And I don't think they got better.
I don't either. They shed Danielle Hunter and got in what's his name, Greenard from the Texans. I don't see how that's like a lateral move to me.
Yeah, I think they got worse, and the only thing that keeps them afloat is the fact that they have an offense that can score 40 any day.
Yeah,
maybe.
All while having a defense that's not the worst in the league because of their DC, but their secondary is going to give up a lot.
Gov, you want to let's see yours and then see what? Yeah, wow.
Yeah. That's kind of how I have a lot of these divisions going. Like I got Detroit up there, playing very well. Like I don't think they've done anything to take a step backwards, and because of that, they're just going to be one of the best teams in the league this year. I actually think, unfortunately, Green Bay has done everything right, and they're probably also going to be very good this year. Yeah, they've got good young talent. They've got, I think the running game with Jacobs is going to be very good, at least for 1 year. I really think Minnesota takes a huge step back, I don't trust JJ, and I know not to trust Sam Darnold.
Right. So, that's how I feel.
As good as their weapons are, I can't do that. And I'm not a Caleb Williams guy, and all the talent is there. So, the one thing I'm afraid of is that Chicago does win 9 or 10 games. But, I still think they're probably a year away.
I think O'Connell is one of the worst head coaches in the league. I think he's clueless. It was very obvious to me that the Vikings had a problem at quarterback, and he could not get anything out of the quarterbacks. And you could say maybe they weren't the most talented, or maybe that team was at a deficit at the point later in the year. But they didn't look like they were NFL worthy.
They scored a lot of points last year. Their defense is what was inept.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I haven't seen much development from O'Connell's offenses at all.
But so, all the quarterbacks were just inserted. The backup quarterbacks are all new. Nick Mullins had just gotten there. They had to get Josh Dobbs in the building. He had just obviously got there late. He wasn't any of these guys.
Which is what I mean. They invested management decisions into Dobbs and to Hall, the rookie. Both of those were terrible. I don't know. They got rid of Cooks. They made all these decisions that made no sense to me. I didn't like this at all.
So, Gov, 5-12 for my Bears. Like, where? I guess I'm not clear on how you see they fall off this hard with how much they underachieved a little bit last season.
I don't see how they get worse. They might be the same, but I don't see how they get worse.
I'd have to. That's where I wish I could open it up and look back at where I gave them the losses to get to 5-12. Because I thought I had them third, but I guess I have them as the same as the Vikings. Which, to be fair, like you see, like the huge disparity. So, like if you were to look at my conference list, I have like a bunch of teams at the top with like 12 and 14 wins on both sides, which gives me a lot of 5-win teams.
Well, last year you had a lot of 15 and 16 win teams, and you just dialed that back a bit.
Now, I will say,
or so you suspect.
me and Evan know this division so well, so we shouldn't.
I also did what I did last year, but we'll get to that when we talk about the other North Division.
True. I was going to say me and Evan know this division the best, so we might know too much information. Is there anything we're missing with this division before we move on?
I agree with everything but the Bears. Like, I think the Vikings are terrible. Like, even whatever reason.
Like I said, the Bears was the weird one. As I'm going through, it's like, well, they're not going to win this road game.
I think the Lions.
No. I have Carolina winning at home. Yeah, it's like there's probably 3 or 4 games that I have them losing that they totally can win.
Yeah.
I think the Lions are just as good as they were last year, and the Packers are just as good or better.
Well, my thing with the Lions is if this corner room is figured out, then they are going to be a lot better because that was our one weakness.
Right.
I would say the Bears are not as bad as Gov has. They might not be as good as Evan has, but they're going to be somewhere in the middle. I do think Caleb Williams is generational, and I think he's going to show that right away.
I mean, if he is generational, he has to show it right away because 1, he's polarizing in general, and 2, the team's ready. They're set to win now.
Well, no, that's what I mean. Like, he's going to be like Patrick Mahomes level, like, good right away. Like, you're going to instantly see, like, I want this quarterback for the next 12 years. Kind of good.
And even Mahomes didn't start right away.
Oh, Donnie.
They teased us a bit.
Donnie boy.
AFC West.
How do you have your Patriots?
It was AFC West.
Oh, AFC West. Oh, I thought it was the East. My bad.
Yeah, I brought up Mahomes and everything. It was almost like it was planned,
it did tease us again. But we could pull up any of these. All right. Are we on mine first?
No, we're on Gov. He had it on my screen first.
Okay.
Well, and again, as you see, I have the massive disparity where I have just a bunch of 10-win, 12-win teams, and then 2 of the shittier teams in the league. I do have Harbaugh riding the ship of the Chargers, even with no offensive weapons. But he will lose to his brother when they play in, like, week 14.
I agree to an extent. You have it more extreme than I do, but I do think that Chargers team will look better.
I'm definitely very hyperbolic on my divisions, as you can see. Like, I have, like, 2 good – if I have a division that has 2 good teams, they have 2 bad teams. Or they're the NFC South and everyone's between 7 and 10 wins.
Which is honestly how I feel a lot of things too, and I think that's why me and you have a lot of the same record usually. Because it's usually like 2 teams fighting it out, it seems like, and then the other bottom teams.
Well, to me, stability in a division creates instability elsewhere, and I agree with that. We know Kansas City is stable, and we've seen the rest of the 3. They've tried to swing for home runs. It hasn't hit. That's instability, fast decision-making, trying to catch up with Kansas City. That leads to mistakes. The Chargers, I think, finally righted that and didn't make mistakes. They were patient on head coaching search. They waited for a guy like Harbaugh to show up. It was time to make the move. That's why the Chargers, I think, will have that turnaround this year.
See, and this actually, if you remember this, especially in the AFC side, I didn't even realize it until I did it, but I have like a set of games that basically decide everything. There's like, I have 3 games that decide the entire seeding of the AFC playoffs in my bracket in week 18.
That's pretty good. That's a fun Week 18.
You see how there's two 12-win teams here. I think I have the top 5 teams of the AFC all with 12-5. So it all comes down to tiebreakers everywhere.
All right, Logan, can we see yours? Because I don't know. Me and Evan apparently need to be paired together because we're gonna have the same points anyway.
I'd be amazed if the Chargers win 12-5, though.
I would too.
I might have missed another game, but this should be a good segue to tell you that we are going to do a recap or a review of this probably at some point in the mid-season or maybe at the end of the year. So at some point I will have this corrected. You guys will see, but this gives you a snapshot of what I think about this division.
You missed a game for the Raiders. We'll assume it's a loss.
Correct. Correct. But I'll have that corrected for the midway.
How do you see the Raiders get to this point? Is it a culture thing? Like,
I think the culture's already changed. I like
right.
AP a lot.
Do you think that's what causes this bump?
Yeah. I mean, it shows where the Adams, you remember the Adams leak and how they just leaked that they were talking bad about Jimmy. Like, I know some coaches that have been like, hey, we're going to keep that in-house. He's still a veteran quarterback. You know, I don't want to burn bridges. AP literally wants his players to play with an edge. He lets them smoke in the locker room. It's not just a gimmick of like, oh yeah, my guys are carefree and wheeling and dealing. He wants that. He wants that edge. It's not just, hey, I'm going to let these guys do it for fun. He almost embraces the edge, and they almost don't care what everyone else is doing with their roster. I mean, they took 2 tight ends and are going to run a 2 tight ends system when most people are not running 2 tight ends. And then when asked about it, AP's basically like, well, we just think Bowers is a weapon. Like, you can call him a tight end if you want. Like, not a lot of coaches are doing that. They're more traditional. I kind of like the unconditional method of AP, so it does fit the kind of brand of football that I tend to watch. So I'm higher on it than that.
Okay.
All right.
Speaking of, like Sean Payton, for example, I like a guy that's really strong with his convictions. He believed in Bo Nix. So if he believed in him that strongly, he called him the next iteration of Drew Brees. Like, you don't just throw around these terms, especially his relationship with Drew Brees, I think, unless you believe it. So, like, I like it when a coach believes in a team. That's why I don't think Denver is going to be as bad. You know, Jim is an upgrade. I don't think he's quite the upgrade that some people think he is, but he is their best professional head coach they've had in a long time. Like, they didn't go the offensive coordinator route. They didn't oversell like something a coordinator could do. They're like, hey, we're going to overpay for Jim, and I think they did overpay, but they are going to get consistency with it. And then Kansas City, I think Kansas City could break records this season. Like, they could break offensive records.
I legitimately think Kansas City's the only team ever to win back-to-back Super Bowls and then manage to get better after the second Super Bowl. We even knew last year was supposed to be their rebuild year. They got hot at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
They are better.
I think Andy will have them in the spots to win the right games.
This team has a legitimate shot of three-peating.
And what would you say, Donnie, was the problem? Like the receivers, MVS would drop balls. Like, they got Worthy. Worthy is like legit. Like, they didn't just like say, oh yeah, we're a Super Bowl team. We're gonna take some chances on rookies. Like, they were very aggressive.
They were very aggressive. They were aggressive at the trade deadline because they didn't even think this was good enough to win with.
So I guess if I was to sum up this division, I would just say, like, this is a division that knows who they are, or knows at least who they want to be, and they went all in on it.
Can you go sway over to Evans here?
Sure, let's do mine next. Okay, so being that the Chiefs had a disappointing 11-6 season last year with just some pieces that did not work out, the Xavier Worthy draft pick I like a lot, and I hope he does well. I think the offensive system is too good to beat, and their defense didn't get that much worse with L'Jarius Sneed leaving. So I think this Chiefs team is still the team to beat. I don't see a world in which they lose less than 13 games unless they lose a bunch of people by injuries. I think I'm higher on the Denver Broncos than a lot of other people too, because Sean Payton to me is an excellent coach. They just extended Quinn Menares, if I said his name right, to he's one of their guards for a $20 million a year contract. Sean Payton loves building that solid interior on the offensive line, and I think that's what's going to help this offense for a guy like a Bo Nix to adjust well to the NFL. I like Cortland Sutton. I know that Jerry Jeudy's gone, but I don't think that's a huge loss, and I think the defense will still play well. The Raiders, I think, were a very overrated team last year, even though they brought in Antonio Pierce. The team likes him a lot, but I just don't think they have the talent to go 8-9 again. I think they're going to lose 3 more games, and they had a few free wins toward the end of the season when like the Chiefs are starting to not put in 100% effort. And this Charger team, I think, is in for a painful season. I like Jim Harbaugh a lot, but I don't like the offensive line still, even with Joe Alt at left tackle. The running backs are nothing special to me anymore. And losing Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, I think they're in for a lot of pain this season.
Logan, can you sway over to mine for a second? Because this is getting weird, Evan. 3 out of 4 within a game. We have Kansas City. We all know Kansas City by far and away the top. It's not close.
You're closer to me with the Chargers than you are to him, though.
Yes, the Chargers are the one exception where I don't agree with Evan. The Chargers, I think, is significantly improved. I don't think you can win 4 games with a quarterback as talented as Justin Herbert. I don't think that's possible.
In theory, you would think that, right?
In practice, we shall see.
If you see a quarterback of that magnitude play the whole season, I think you have a baseline of 7 wins, no matter what's around. I like Denver. They're still bottom of the AFC. Obviously, it seems, but I have them going 7-10. Same thing as Logan. I mean, similar points to you guys. I don't think they're worse. I think they're better. The team believes itself, at least.
Yeah, they're not worse. You could see Mims being better if they brought in Franklin. Like, they might not be ready, but they've at least tried to do different things offensively.
Right. They changed the culture so that they don't have hate in the locker room, I feel.
I like what you said about Justin Herbert because I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he's a phenomenally intensely great quarterback. But even with him out there, the Chargers still only won 5 games last year. He he's definitely not the problem on this team.
He did not play the whole season, though.
Even then, he still lost a lot of games with this horrible offense last year.
But that kind of is to my point of when I think if you have your quarterback of that level play a certain amount of games, he's going to win you 7 games.
And his finger was Troy Hall fucked up.
Yeah. And the Raiders are awful to me. Even if you have the culture right, that's not always enough. There's still a void of talent around them. I don't trust the quarterback room. I don't know their offensive direction. Even if I actually believe in the double tight end thing, but it's not ready yet. In the defense, I don't think is getting any better. So
I did want to say, I know we're trying to keep this high and tight, but we haven't talked about Rice. Rice might be a big pivotal point for the Chiefs. So when we go back to review this and do a midseason review or even how did we do going into the fall?
I honestly, in mine, I even assume that his suspension just gets postponed and shit, and he ends up playing most of the season.
Well, I'm saying in mine,
if not the whole.
I think go play at least 12 games, so it doesn't affect me as much.
That's what I just want to make that point. Is I did that as well. I almost did it he's gonna get suspended at some point, but it won't be this year.
I even have Kansas City losing a game early on, which is not a Kansas City thing to do.
I'm going to switch over to another person's screen, Donnie, so you have a wheel there.
All right.
While you do so, I think this will be Patrick Mahomes' worst season of his career last year. I don't expect him to have a drought.
He's got to have a down year, right? Right?
No,
Right?
That's what you think.
So.
If Mahomes three-peats, that would be absolutely insane.
Now we get Donnie's division. I'm not wrong now. Okay.
I think we should.
I'll
pull it up.
Now we're cooking with peanut oil.
We need to get it out the way.
Yes. Let's see it, Donnie.
I'm just going to be honest. I'm not high on my Patriots. Their schedule is so tough. I mean, I knew it was a tough schedule, and it was ranked coming into the season as the toughest schedule. But and I think they improved. This might be a good thing for them. Just have another year of suck, and we'll come back next year, hopefully stronger. This Patriots team is not ready. There's no point of forcing it to be ready. Unless, like, Ayuk gets traded to them, maybe, hopefully. if Ayuk gets traded to them, this bumps up to 7. And we're starting Drake May week 1.
I think the Niners coaching staff and executives will fight you on that one.
Well, I'll take Debo.
Debo wouldn't be a bad consolation prize.
Yeah, I'm fine with the consolation prize of Debo. New York, they're better. They're not good. The defense, it's hard to repeat a defensive year that they had, even if I think they're still good. I've watched a defense try and carry an inept offense before. You don't repeat that twice.
No.
And they gave us that year last year, trying to scrape their way for a Rodgers return. It didn't work. It was a wasted year of one of the most historically great defenses we'll probably see. And we'll never think about it. Buffalo takes a step back, still a playoff team, like I said. Same rule. When you have a quarterback like Josh Allen, your minimum 7 wins. Do you have talent enough around him to get you that extra 3 to get you into the playoffs? That's what that comes down to. And Miami, another 10-win team. I do think they're the same. I think they're the same. I think Miami's exactly the same.
Donnie, I know you've had this approach before where it's like people wonder if me or you are fans of our actual team because we can be so measured that sometimes people wonder. But I know it's in your identity to be conservative when it comes to rookie quarterbacks. So I think you're kind of doing this with this idea that there will at least be growing pains for Drake May. If not, he just won't start right away. Or I'm saying he will, and that's where you'll see him in my record. But let's go to Evan actually.
Even if he does start right away, it's like
I was about to say, like,
they have the tough first month.
Yeah, and good call, by the way, Logan, because look at how freaking close we are, again, me and Donnie, with our records here. Like,
and I was going to say,
sick.
I have basically the same record for New England and Miami as Donnie does, but my division looks completely different. So, like, go through yours, Evan.
Evan, what is wrong with us?
Like, this is just this is just like a weird mirror verse of Donnie's lineup. So you go through.
Can I stop you just for a second though? Because
like Peter Parker and Miles Morales are both Spider-Man.
I'm sure this won't surprise.
Point now at each other. You should be pointing at each other. That's the meme. We need to keep that.
I'm sure this won't surprise. I'm sure
if your next division is like that, just point.
Blink 3 times if you're safe. No.
Hey, Beetlejuice twice since there's a new one coming out.
This probably will not surprise anyone. I just want to say that we have a Discord, so like I'm honestly not surprised because Evan and Donnie have some very traditional, very archaic, almost agreeable opinions on football.
Why is it archaic?
I was about to say I like the word archaic.
I'm saying in comparison to me. So like I'm not surprised that we're very polar opposites. But if I had to mention anyone, it would be so largely connected. It would definitely be you and Donnie.
Yeah,
it's getting strange.
No, it's not. Not to me.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I didn't peek at anybody. So, but yeah, the Dolphins, they were 11-6 last year. I still think they're a damn good team, especially that offense. Even if the defense is not elite by anyone's standards, it's still very good. I think Mike McDaniel is at least a good head coach, if not above average. The Buffalo Bills, I don't think are going to fall off hard with their revamped secondary, and losing Stephon Diggs, I don't think is going to be as devastating as people think, because Josh Allen probably will have to take more carries than usual this year, even with the help of James Cook behind him. And I still think it'll be a very good team, just not quite as good as the Dolphins. The Jets, assuming Aaron Rodgers does not get hurt, at least has Tyrod Taylor backing him up, who's always been a solid backup. I think the offense will get a little better now that Garrett Wilson should be back to full strength. They got big Mike Williams as a number 2, even if he's not the long-term number 2. And I like the reports I'm seeing on Xavier Gipson who was their kick and punt returner last year, who could possibly be a number 3. And like Donnie just said about the Patriots, this is not a team that's ready to compete right now. They're clearly rebuilding, brand new coaching staff, and I just don't think this is a good year for the Patriots, even if there's hope for the future.
That's how I feel too. There's definitely hope. I like what's going on in the building. It's just not ready.
Yeah.
It's still simmering.
And at least you don't have Russ cooking.
It might be simmering, but it's hotter than I at least have it hotter than you, Donnie.
Go ahead.
Oh, I've got a spicy one, but let's go to Logan first.
Yeah. Well, Logan's going to be spicy too, right?
I think this division is really close.
Ooh.
Yeah, that is spicy.
Logan's kind of spicy. Mine's kind of ooh. Now, okay, you were kind of saying it earlier. You're kind of high on Drake May coming out and being good.
Yeah,
aren't you?
I love Drake May, but their schedule is brutal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I was going through it. Like there were just not a lot of wins to give New.
I think the Patriots gave Bill Belichick a Lifetime Achievement Award. He deserved it, but he hasn't been a good coach in a long time. I think Pat Mayo is a huge upgrade over that team in modern football. Like
Gerard Mayo.
That's what I said, right?
You said
no,
Pat.
you said Pat.
I don't know Pat Mayo though. You're a cool guy.
Like Pat Mayo's a great guy. I'm not sure if I need him running the Patriots.
At least I didn't say Pat McAfee, so
that'd be worse. You're right.
Yeah, that would.
But,
go on though.
But yeah, so I just think it's an upgrade. I think he's going to get the most out of the defense. I think he'll be able to talk to the younger players. I think a lot of Bill Belichick's language and just energy in the locker room was so much based on what he had done in the past that he just lost. It wasn't like he wasn't a good coach. It's just he disconnected from today's football. And I think there's going to be such an energy. You know, bringing in a rookie quarterback, you're going to need that young kind of, we're going to do it different. We're going to shock the world. But there's still that pedigree and that culture. Like we talked about a lot of organizations wanting to change a culture. They actually know what a winning culture still looks like. So I feel like they're in the best case scenario where it's like they can interject that energy, but still keep that winning culture and that standard. And I think we're going to see a winning record from the Patriots.
This whole training camp, they have basically brought former Patriots a part of the championship teams because Gerard Mayo still has all these connections from what was it, 08 probably to about 2015, 14. He's got the connections. People are showing up between the Brady retirement as well that helped a lot. Jersey retirement, whatever. They have interjected a good culture.
I will say if Bill Belichick was coaching the Jets, I would give them another 3 wins. But they're not. Saleh is coaching, and I think that's the worst part about the Jets this season. They'll still overcome that, though. I think Saleh is one of the worst coaches in the league, but Aaron Rodgers has got just enough magic left in him. I think Mike Williams, although injured most of his career, is a top 15 wide receiver in the league. So if he's able to stay healthy, I like what this offense does. Him and Garrett Wilson will pair very well together, and I think Breece Hall has a chance to lead the league in rushing.
I'm pretty much in line with what you have, Logan. Like I'm not as high on New England. Like I'm still down on New England. You can pull up mine. But this is one of my marquee things. There's a week 18 matchup. Miami in New York against the Jets. And I have that for the division. Both teams coming in 10-6. I think Buffalo takes a massive step back. Like if you see a theme, like if I don't trust your offense, I don't think you're going to be good this year. And I agree in any normal circumstance, Josh Allen should be worth 7 wins. But I think they'll just be so bad that they only win 6 games. But hopefully that gives them a nice pick that gets them a nice receiver next year. And maybe Coleman's solid and they're better than I think.
Or they can just trade for Ayuk.
I like Coleman, but apparently their personnel is even worried that he won't be able to block in the NFL. Like apparently they're really worried about his just like understanding of the offense. Does anyone have a pro take on the Dolphins before we go to the next division? Because that was the one team I just didn't know what to do with them. They're good enough to
They're
win
the
games.
same team.
Essentially, they're the same, yeah.
Yeah, like I think I have them basically the same. So when I go through the schedule, like early in the season, they win their games at home, but then I don't have them winning really any of the big games late. So they lose the road games in December. So they lose Aaron Rodgers in New York. They lose a random game to Buffalo because Buffalo will try to compete.
We get the best division last. The AFC North is going to be last. Who wants the NFC East first?
I'll
take. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Gov.
All right. NFC East. Ooh.
Yeah,
I got Philly as the number 1 seed coming out of the NFC.
So we agree on that.
And then I have Philly at 15-2 and 3 14-3 teams in the NFC between Dallas. Why am I blanking? Yeah, Dallas, Detroit, and San Francisco.
Wow.
Yeah, I am a very top heavy. Like I am.
He's always.
I think it's stars and scrubs in the fucking league. Like there's going to be shit teams, and then there's going to be good teams.
I just don't think the league's heading towards that. I think the league's heading towards more balance than ever.
It probably is, and everyone's going to be fucking 10 and 11 wins, and that's how I have my AFC, where it's a little more balanced.
The NFC is more top heavy. I agree.
Yeah.
I also have the Giants as the worst team in the league.
But I just don't see how
they're only winning. Like I just couldn't give there was just nowhere in the thing. It's like they beat them. No. Okay, the Giants off by will probably beat Washington. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see how Washington only wins 2. I just that's mind-boggling to me.
I do not trust the coaches. Like what are the like. It's not Ron Rivera and his consistency. It's a bunch of throwaway coaches that are looking for a second chance. I don't think they're going to be that good. I like the talent, not sold on the quarterback, but I'll like okay, let's go for it. But I don't trust it.
Well, I think their offense is pretty well put together, though. And that's why I'm shocked about Washington.
You can see like there's a lot of offenses that could click. And then they'll just win games I didn't see coming.
It is Dan Quinn, though, right?
Like
it is.
Yeah, Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury as the offensive coordinator. Like it's throwaway coaches.
Well, I think Cliff
Kingsbury already had shots. These are their second shots.
So you think he's gonna just have a McDaniels type, a Josh McDaniels type thing where he gets another chance? He doesn't look good again.
Well, he might eventually, but like
yeah.
Like, I've seen Cliff Kingsbury's offense. I'm not thrilled with it. It should be okay, but, like, I just don't have, like, maybe Washington wins a few more games, but, like, does it matter if they win 4 or 5 games? Like, they're going to suck.
I think mostly we agree, though, there's going to be 2 teams coming out and getting playoff spots.
Philly and Dallas, I think, are pretty clear.
All right, well, Logan, pull up yours so we can see.
I pulled up Evans.
Okay. Yeah, that's mine because for the first time tonight, like it's in most alignment with Gov, but we just differ on the records. I think the Eagles, now that they got rid of awful fucking coaches, especially that piece of shit Matt Patricia, the defense is going to come through better this year, and they're going to be the elite team that they've always been. I don't think they've lost much talent. I mean, they got Saquon Barkley for fuck's sake, and they moved on from DeAndre Swift, for example. So Jalen Hurts is still going to be slept on as an elite quarterback, too, because a lot of people don't think of him that way. And he's going to lead this team to 14 wins. I'd be shocked if they did worse. The Dallas Cowboys, led by Mike McCarthy, are going to be good, but they're never going to get over that, 10 or 11 win hump because they've got the talent to get there in spite of just terrible fucking coaching. The Washington Commanders, 4-13, ho-hum. The secondary is trash, but the offense could look promising, but 4 or 5 wins, like Gov just said, doesn't really matter. Oh, we have to do this. Sorry.
I can't wait till we pull mine up.
Are you like the same? Like you have Dallas like 12 and watching
exactly
it like 5.
Oh my God. Yeah, do I need to say anything about the Giants?
Let's
Fuck
see,
them.
Philly,
Yeah.
you have Philly
4
at
and
15.
13, 5 and 12, 9 and 8 Dallas, and Philly 13 and 4. It's everything within one game, and one team's within 2 games.
I honestly think
Point, Donnie! Point, you son of a bitch! Logan, please be Spider-Man with us. But you can't. You probably don't have the division the same.
He's so polarizing from us.
Earth,
Right?
Wind, and Fire. So, but we talk a lot about betting strategies, and I think the one thing we can pretty much say with this division for sure is you should bet on Dable maybe being the first head coach fired. I would definitely take that bet.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that guy to get fired. I think he is so strongly overrated as an offensive genius. I just never saw it. I think he's a blowhard. I think he yells at his teammates. See, I'm weird because I call your coach a teammate. Like you're part of the team, and to treat your quarterback that way, he just never rubbed me the right way.
I would be shocked if Dable isn't the first coach fired. Like, it would legitimately shock me. No one else is on the hot seat as close. The only coach that could get fired is if Dallas came out and was like 0-5.
Yeah, I don't like those future bets because you're tying up money. But if I had to lay up some money in that market, it would definitely be the Giants. So there you go for some Giants talk. That's what I'd be hoping for.
Yeah, and Dallas, I think, got worse, but they're still a fringe playoff team because they're Dallas. And, you know, like, we don't need to talk about Philadelphia. Philadelphia is going to stay the same. You know, they're better, actually, but they're going to stay the same record-wise. And that's pretty much, you know, we don't need to talk about Washington. I think, you know, they have a ceiling right now, and it's about 5 to 6 games.
If like 5 games is probably the ceiling.
You were saying?
What the fuck did you do?
Where does Philly go wrong?
Okay, so we're all Spider-Man and you're Bizarro Superman. What the fuck?
Let me tell you, last year I did this. You guys had a similar reaction to my Bengals record. That actually turned out to be true.
But it required on a Joe Burrow injury.
This division has the worst coaching.
I guess if Jason Kelsey is really the core of that offensive line, even getting a better running back doesn't help.
I was going to say
and then Washington could be better, and that means Dallas has to clearly win the division. Hey, we all think the Giants suck.
Hey!
Hey, points! We all points!
So I'll just say quickly, I think Lamb is going to maybe set some records. I think he's in his prime. I think we're going to see like a really good season. I think Dak kind of has a Matthew Stafford like a season where it's like he finally stays healthy for a whole year. People finally get that monkey off his back, and he balls out similar to when Matthew won it the Super Bowl that year.
Dak has never had a serious problem. He's had a couple of years here and there, but he's been healthy most of his career.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that he gets dinged up in
one season, really.
I can think of one season where he's been hurt, exactly.
That's what I'm saying, but he'll get dinged up or he'll have like soreness, and then people will just jump on him. Like
I've never really heard people jumping on Dak as somebody who's going to get hurt and miss games and not be Dak.
Or
he's just not good in the playoffs.
Maybe I'm wrong about the physicality, but like there's always been this like Dak is worse than he thinks he is mentality. I think he finally puts it together, and the Cowboys can have a very, very good season, like a very good season.
I just don't see how they get better, and I don't see where Philly gets extremely worse.
I don't like Stefanski at all.
I think Philly has a floor of 10 wins right now. They're just too talented.
See, Gov actually hit what I think, and maybe you guys are right, but I think losing Kelsey was a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Losing Jason,
Yeah, I mean, it'll hurt, but I don't think it's going to get to the point where they're like, oh my God, we only won 6 games.
Where you no longer have the tush push, you now have Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, and he can do a lot, and he won't have to do everything.
I mean, the team's just loaded of talent that you can rotate.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always been lower on Stefanski. I've always been lower on AJ Brown.
I
If they
don't love
want to,
Stefanski either, to be fair.
like I would bet the two coaches to get fired in this division. It would be Dable and Stefanski.
If I was the Eagles, I would have fired Stefanski and gave Belichick that job.
Which is why I think they'll win 6 games off talent, but their coaching staff is gonna fail them. So that's where I got it.
Okay, and that leaves us with one last division. No more wheel that needs to be spun. I can spin it if you want.
Do
but-
it.
No.
It's got to land
Going
on the
to
same
the AFC North.
thing. Yep. So you could, let's just rotate over to the AFC North.
I think Gov had it pulled
This
up first.
is going to be. I want to see if Evan and I can somehow match.
I have
cluster.
this division basically deciding the entire AFC playoffs in Week 18. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm gonna die. Oh God. So
I'll make this real
Baltimore
that
plays Cleveland and Cincinnati plays Pittsburgh. I actually tested this out. If certain teams win, Kansas City doesn't get to the number 1 seed. Maybe it's Cincinnati. Maybe it's Baltimore. Cleveland could be the number 1 seed if certain people win and lose. The Chargers at 12-5 don't even make the playoff. Like there are scenarios that stupid shit happens in my shit. But basically, like, Baltimore's going to be Baltimore, unfortunately. I do believe in Cleveland. I think they're going to be a lot better than people think. They're going to have Chubb most of the year. Their run game's going to be fine. Their offensive line is strong. If the Perv is better or Jameis can come in a couple games when he's hurt and play fine, like, they can still make runs because they're built for playoff runs.
You said when Watson is hurt, which is pretty much a given that you're expecting Watson to get hurt.
Yeah. This was like the one team. It's like, no, Watson's missing 3 or 4 games, but it's fine. Jameis will come out and throw for 300, 3 and 3.
Or he'll have 5 interceptions.
No, he's gonna throw for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. 300, 3 and 3.
On your analysis, I will say if Jameis starts at any point, just book it. I will have him in a lineup. I've been a Jameis guy in my DFS lineups. I've been a Jameis guy my whole life.
Hey man, he's a home run hitter.
Again, Cincinnati could have 12 wins here too and be right there with every other AFC team. I think I have them losing 1 game here, 1 game there that they could be, but like I have right there Joe Burrow all year. They'll be right there too, and they'll be in the playoffs.
This is the toughest.
And then Pittsburgh will just be Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin does what Mike Tomlin does, and they'll be 9-8 or 8-9 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, this division's just really tough. Do we want to go to Evan or Logan next?
I'll go to me because what I want to do is just give you like a 1-word answer for each team, and then we can move on from there. Because I think this division's pretty clear.
Jesus Christ!
I think the Ravens are the best team in the division. The Cleveland Browns do enough interesting things, and they have tons of talent. I'm a big fan of Jerry Jeudy. Not 9-8 for them. The Bengals, they're similar to the Bills, where everyone thinks they're more talented, but they lose games they should win, and it's not a consistent.
This is going to be Tomlin's shit year.
Yeah, this will be. He hired Arthur Smith. Like, that tells you how desperate they are. Like, when that guy gets another job, and honestly, what I don't like about it is Arthur Smith and him kind of have the same mindset. So there's no creativity there. There's nothing different. There's no uniqueness at all. Like,
but they've never gone to 2-15 though. How do you get there?
They're too.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like I don't think Tomlin's lost more or had less than 7 or 8 wins.
He's never been under 500 in his career.
Yeah.
Kobe always was healthy till he tore his Achilles. Like, I think the bottom falls off.
Maybe this is Tomlin's bad year, and then
they end up getting a really good pick. Wrong.
Like, what's Pittsburgh already drafts really well. What are you going to do when you finally give them a top pick in every round?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if me and Evan are the same. I mean, I'd be shocked, but I do think Pittsburgh finally bottoms out to what they could bottom out to. 7-10, I don't think they're good. They have playmakers, and that's why they're here. That's it. I like the fact that Baltimore gets better. Baltimore was my number 1 seed last year. It's still the number 1 seed. I'm lower on them than I was because I'm so much higher on Kansas City and a team like Houston. I think there's a definitive second and third in the AFC now, where last year there wasn't. And that's why I'm lower on Baltimore.
This is where we find out how many super fans we have of our content, though, because everyone should know we're higher on Derrick Henry than most. If you looked at our rankings in best ball, I think
that's one of the reasons why, like, I could have put any one of those teams at the top of my division, but because of Henry, I think it's just going to be Baltimore.
I think Cincinnati bounces back. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender, but I do think they will win enough in the regular season. And Cleveland is just going to be around. They're going to win random games. They're going to be tough to play against, but you should be able to beat them if you're just better coached.
Yeah.
I just think the Ravens are like the really good Super Bowl contender that no one's talking about. I think everyone expects them to be good. I expect them to be like elite caliber.
Let's see yours.
All right. Donnie?
What a way to finish, Evan. Every division?
Just about every division, man.
It was everyone.
Yeah, within 2 wins, exactly. Well, except for the Titans, but we'll give that a pass. Anyway, Baltimore 13-4, I think is absolutely achievable for this team. They're not worse. I think they've upgraded massively with Derrick Henry, even if people think that Derrick Henry's starting to fall off for some reason when he's shown no signs of slowing down. And this is a team that's built to run the fucking football. Derrick Henry's going to kill people in the AFC North. Cincinnati Bengals, I'm counting on people staying healthy, and I think they're going to be a good team, even if their defense is not great. I think the offense is going to do just fine with Burrow to Chase every time.
Chase, Higgins.
Yeah, and Higgins and losing Tyler Boyd kind of sucks, but maybe IOC.
You can find a new third wide receiver.
Yeah, they could find somebody else to do that. And then who was their tight end they just added too? Is it Gesicki?
It's Gesicki, yes.
Yeah, Mike Gesicki should be
perfect
okay.
Perfect for Burrow.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's perfect for the 11-6. I cannot count out the Pittsburgh Steelers led by Mike Tomlin. If it was a different coaching staff, I might agree with Logan that they go 2-15. But because it's Mike Tomlin, I think they go at least 9 wins. There's no way that I think they're going to finish at the bottom where I think Cleveland will, because I find the Cleveland Browns to be the most overrated AFC team, if anybody's not worse. Joe Flacco saved that Browns team last year, that offense, because their quarterback percentage, I don't know if you guys saw their completion percentage among all their quarterbacks, 56.9% last year. And that was after Watson got hurt. So, I mean, I don't see how the Browns win more than 8 games.
I can't believe you just said the Browns are overrated. Everyone I know thinks the Browns are a joke and always have. They can never be overrated, and that's why they're overrated.
I've heard from enough Browns fans to think that their 11-6 record last year.
Oh, no. The Browns fans, like, again, my dad, I live with my dad. He is a Browns fan. I understand exactly what you get. I'm not talking about Browns fans. I'm talking about the majority of people who are not Browns fans.
Excuse me. I want on the bandwagon. I'm knocking a little bit because
I want the Browns to do well, though. Like, I would.
We have a 1-game difference, Logan. We're pretty in the same stratosphere.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying he's not. He does remind me of the Lions, though. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's a lot." Detroit against everyone. It's like, no, people are starting to realize they're good. It's like the casuals don't realize things quick enough, but I think real football fans do appreciate what the Browns are building. So, because we went a little bit longer, we did get through all the divisions. Is there anything else you guys wanted to say? We do have 2 viewers pretty much rocking with the whole show. We did dip and then gain them back, so I appreciate that as well. This is a great vehicle for shorts and just like content to come back to, flash to. We'll save it. We'll monitor it throughout the year as well. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. You can also go to this website and do it yourself. It's a fun exercise. And it does hold you accountable. Evan or Donnie, sorry, you're on mute.
Yeah, I will send Logan the link, and he will put it in the description for us. Hopefully,
I can definitely do that.
Yep, that's pretty simple for us. So it is a fun exercise. I really do think it is something to just challenge yourself into the NFL season. And even if you're wrong, you could still say, hey, man, this was a cool 30 minutes to look into the NFL season that's coming up.
Right. We talk about like bets and like building DFS lineups and trying to find value. When you have to do an exercise like this, it really does force you to look at a team from a skeleton view up, all the way up. You know, you're looking at who's the quarterback, what's it look like, so that kind of thing. Gov, Evan, you got anything for the people? Any last thoughts?
No, I thought this was a great thought exercise, and I'm just looking forward to see how much we could laugh at by January.
That's exactly
I can
it.
laugh at it right now.
I agree.
Well,
I'm cracking up. I also need Will Smith to hit a home run. Will Smith.
I will have it filled in, but sometime before New Year's, I will have all the divisions. No, I'm kidding. I will fix that. But it is a fun thought exercise to kind of review and study throughout the years as well. That's more importantly why we do go an extra 20 minutes. But I do appreciate you guys rocking with us. Good night, guys.
Ooh, that's a hit.
Not everyone.
Go, Will.
Have a good night, everybody.